Are you reacting or ruling? Machiavelli taught rulers to move with intent, not with impulse. This video exposes the cold calm method, the art of stopping reflexes and imposing your will through collected restraint. For men who are tired of being tossed by drama, anxiety, and other people's demands, this is a surgical reprogram. Learn to breathe first, decide once, act last. Promise. By the end, you'll own 5 brutal, testable strategies to stop reacting and start ruling every room you enter. You have been trained to react. Since birth, every glance, every tone, every sudden shift in the world has pulled you into reflex. A raised eyebrow makes you explain yourself. A pause in conversation makes you fill the silence. Someone questions your intent, and you rush to defend. You live like a servant shackled to invisible strings, jerking and twitching with every pull. This is the cage of reaction, and as long as you live inside it, you cannot rule. The first law of Machiavelli's cold calm method is brutal in its simplicity. Do not react. Not instantly. Not when provoked. Not when they expect it. Power belongs to the man who holds the still edge. The pause that slices through chaos like a blade through silk. Picture it. A crowded room, voices colliding, emotions spiking. Someone points the finger at you. The weak man flinches, stammers, spills words to fill the tension, but the one who rules, he doesn't move. He breathes. He waits. He watches others burn through their fuel while he remains the dark, silent center. In that moment, the axis of the room tilts. People sense it. A force that doesn't rush, doesn't bend, doesn't yield. Machiavelli himself wrote of this principle, though in veiled words. The prince who hesitates strategically, who appears calm while others are consumed with passion, gains advantage without lifting a sword. The pause becomes a weapon. The silence becomes a throne. And it is from that throne that decisions are made with precision, rather than desperation. Why does this matter to you? Because every impulsive reply you give, every defensive explanation you offer, every instant emotional outburst, it lowers you. It teaches the room that you can be provoked, that your center of gravity is weak, that you do not command yourself, let alone them. The world is watching for your reaction. The world is baiting you into movement. The world thrives when you dance to its tune. Stop. The still edge is not about passive weakness. It is about active restraint. Think of a predator in the shadows. The beast that lunges too quickly loses its prey. The one who waits in stillness controls the hunt. The pause is not emptiness. It is a chamber loading the next move with force. Here is your first micro rule. When provoked, do not respond. Instead, breathe in for 4 counts. Hold that breath for 4. Exhale for 4. Then hold the void for another 5 seconds. During that time, you say nothing. You move nothing. You are stone. You are shadow. You let their noise crash against the walls of your silence. And then, only then, you decide. This ritual rewires your nervous system. It severs the chain between trigger and reflex. It reminds you that you are not a puppet. You are the hand that cuts the string. You are not a servant of the moment. You are the judge who will issue verdict on your own terms. Jung would have called this the integration of the shadow, owning the dark, cold part of you that doesn't rush to please, doesn't collapse into noise. Nietzsche hinted at the same when he spoke of composure before creation. Creation requires silence. Rule requires patience. Now imagine applying this to your life. Someone insults you. You breathe. Your boss pressures you for an instant answer. You breathe. A lover demands immediate justification. You breathe. They expect fire. They meet stone. They expect collapse. They meet steel. Every pause you enforce conditions them. Each silence is a reminder. You are not owned by their chaos. But beware, the first time you do this, it will feel unbearable. Your veins will burn. Your mind will scream to react, to justify, to fill the silence. That is the inner servant clawing at your ribs, begging you to bow to habit. Do not listen. Crush him. The longer you hold the silence, the weaker he becomes. Eventually, he dies. And when he dies, you are free. Practical exercise. In the next 24 hours, let silence be your first response in one difficult interaction. No words, no expressions, just the ritual breath and a pause. Observe what happens. Watch how the other person twists in the vacuum you create. Feel the power of withholding. The man of reaction bleeds his strength in every moment. The man of the still edge accumulates it. His calm is not emptiness. It is stored fire, coiled and waiting, a storm hidden behind glass. Others sense it. They cannot explain why they lean into him, why they measure their words, why his presence feels heavier than the rest. It is because he carries the still edge. Remember this. The ruler is not the loudest voice. The ruler is the silence everyone must speak into. The ruler is the stillness that unsettles the restless. The ruler is the edge that never dulls. You will be provoked. You will be tested. You will be baited by society, by enemies, by those who crave to see you twitch. Smile inwardly. Breathe. Wait. The still edge is yours. Impulse is the leash tied around your neck. You think you are free, but the truth is cruel. Every time you rush to speak, every time you react without thought, every time you spill yourself to prove you exist, you are dragged like a dog. This leash is invisible, but it is strong, and until you tear it off, you cannot rise. The second law of Machiavelli's cold calm method demands the death of impulse, not the soft management of it, not the polite redirection of it, its death. Look around you. Men today are slaves to their impulses. They chase notifications like rats chasing crumbs. They argue online, shouting into the void to defend opinions that will be forgotten in minutes. They check their phones, their mirrors, their validations, dozens of times a day. They are chained to every flicker of desire, every spark of irritation. They are not men, they are marionettes, and you, if you are honest, are no different. You feel the itch to respond before you even know what you will say. You feel the need to prove your point, to defend your ego, to justify your existence. You want to jump into every gap of silence with words, because silence terrifies you. This is the mark of weakness, the mark of the servant, the mark of the man who cannot lead because he cannot even command himself. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. The prince who is ruled by passion is not a prince, but a pawn. The one who rules his own urges, his own temper, his own tongue. He commands more than armies, he commands reality itself. So how do you kill the impulse? Not by wishing, not by meditation slogans. You kill it by exposure, by starvation, by cold practice in the heat of life. Here is the first weapon. The pause ritual expands into discipline. The moment you feel the itch to speak, to move, to argue, you must stop. Hold your tongue. Bite it if you must. Let the fire burn inside without spilling out. Count your breath. 4 in, 4 hold, 4 out, 5 in the void. Let the silence choke your impulse until it dies. Do not confuse this with cowardice. Cowardice is silence born of fear. This silence is born of dominance. The second weapon, planned denial. Every day, deny yourself one impulse you normally obey. Do not check your phone for the first hour after waking. Do not answer immediately when your name is called. Do not eat the moment you feel hunger. In each denial, you prove to yourself that you are not a servant of the body, nor a prisoner of habit. You are the master who commands the flesh. The third weapon, delayed response. When a message comes, wait. When provoked, wait. When tempted, wait. Delay is not weakness. Delay is sharpening. You may still respond later, but your response will no longer be the bark of a chained animal. It will be the strike of a blade, deliberate and final. The inner servant will rebel. He will whisper that people will forget you if you do not react. He will warn that you will look weak, that you will lose opportunities, that others will move ahead. But remember, this voice is not a guide. It is a parasite. He wants you reactive, predictable, and weak. Kill him. Each pause, each denial, each delay is poison in his veins. Soon he will grow weaker, and in his death your rulership is born. Nietzsche said that freedom is the will to take responsibility for oneself. But how can you take responsibility if you cannot even restrain your tongue, your hands, your hunger? A ruler is not free because he does what he wants. He is free because he does not do what he does not choose. That distinction is the line between impulse and power. Picture this. Two men are tested in public. One is insulted. He erupts, his face twisted, his words spilling, his anger consuming him. He feels strong in that instant, but the crowd sees only a puppet jerking on strings. The other man receives the same insult. He is silent. He looks, unblinking. He waits. The insult rots in the air, unanswered, until it smells of desperation. The crowd feels the weight of his restraint, the steel in his control. Which of these men do you fear? Which do you follow? Your second micro-rule is this: practice withholding in small arenas before the larger ones. Today, resist the urge to explain yourself when unnecessary. Tomorrow, resist the urge to reply instantly to a message. The day after, resist the urge to defend when lightly insulted. Each exercise is a blade sharpened against the leash of impulse. Each act of restraint cuts the chain a little further. Impulse is death. Restraint is birth. When you kill impulse, you give birth to the version of yourself that no longer bends, no longer twitches, no longer dances when commanded. You become heavy, still, a presence that cannot be dragged. This is the law of the death of impulse. Carry it or be carried. Break the leash or remain on all fours. Now, stand up. Tear the leash. Walk forward with silence in your veins. The death of impulse is the first funeral you must celebrate. Burn the corpse, then march on. Every man thinks he is calm until the fire begins. An insult is thrown, a challenge rises, a delay disrupts his plan. And suddenly the mask of composure falls away and he burns like dry wood in an open flame. This is not calm. This is fragility disguised as peace. True calm is not the absence of disturbance. True calm is the fortress that stands while storms pound against its walls. The third law of Machiavelli's cold calm method is this: build a fortress of calm. Not a thin shell, not a mask, a fortress, impenetrable, cold, eternal. Why? Because the world hunts for weakness. It does not attack your strength. It probes your nerves, your emotions, your impatience. An enemy does not need to wound your body if he can stir your temper. A rival does not need to outthink you if he can bait you into rage. They test you like children poking a chained dog with a stick, waiting to see if you will bark, bite, or whimper. The man who cannot remain calm is already conquered. Calm is not softness. Calm is not passivity. Calm is iron discipline of the soul. Calm is a sword in a sheath, hidden but sharp. Calm is a throne that no storm can shake. Imagine a ruler seated in his hall. Around him, ministers argue, soldiers shout, the crowd roars. Yet he does not move. He listens. He waits. His silence weighs more than their words. When he finally speaks, the room obeys. That is calm. That is rulership. Machiavelli knew authority is not in noise. It is in measured silence. But calm cannot be improvised. It must be built like a fortress, stone by stone. The first stone is ritual. Every morning, before you let the world in, you create the fortress. Sit in silence, no phone, no noise. Breathe and visualize the day attacking you with chaos. Prepare your walls before the first arrow is shot. This is not meditation for peace. It is construction for war. The second stone is emotional detachment. Train yourself to see insults as smoke. They have no weight unless you inhale them. See delays, failures, accidents not as attacks but as weather. Rain cannot insult you. Lightning cannot humiliate you. So why let a weak man's words pierce your chest? Treat each attempt to provoke you as nothing more than weather. The third stone is measured response. When provoked, never answer in the moment of fire. Let the flame burn out inside first. Respond only after silence has coated your words in ice. The calm reply is feared because it carries calculation. Rage is predictable. Calm is unreadable. And unreadable men are untouchable. The antagonist will not vanish. He is the inner storm. He whispers in your veins, react now, defend yourself, shout, strike. Don't let them disrespect you. He is chaos disguised as courage. But courage is not noise. Courage is control. The storm inside you is not a signal to act. It is a signal to resist. Master this, and your enemies will drown in their own chaos while you stand still watching. Jung spoke of the shadow, the beast we all carry. To deny it is weakness. To unleash it is destruction. But to keep it chained inside the fortress, under command, ready to be released only at the moment of advantage, that is power. Your calm is not the death of the beast. It is its cage, a cage only you hold the key to. Now see the image. You stand in a fortress of stone, high above the chaos. Arrows rain against your walls, but they crack and fall. Fires burn outside, but your citadel remains cold. Voices scream below, demanding your reaction. You give them nothing. You remain still, unmoved. And then, at your chosen moment, you open the gates. You release the strike, and the world trembles. Here is your micro rule. Today, train yourself to delay one reaction. When someone irritates you, pause 5 full seconds before speaking. 5 seconds of silence is a wall thicker than stone. Tomorrow expand it to 10. The day after to a minute. Soon no man will be able to stir you on command. Your second micro rule, embrace one discomfort without protest. When trapped in traffic, do not curse. When insulted lightly, do not flinch. When delayed, do not sigh. Each acceptance adds another stone to your fortress. Your third micro rule, choose your words like weapons. Speak half of what you would normally say. Cut away the excess. Each word saved is another guard on your walls. Understand this. Calm is not merely survival. Calm is a weapon. The man who burns is predictable. The man who shakes is weak. But the man who remains still in fire, unblinking, untouchable, he terrifies everyone. This is your fortress. Build it, live in it, rule from it. The world outside will rage, but inside your walls, there is only steel. And when you emerge from that fortress, when you finally choose to act, it will not be reaction. It will be rulership. Words are cheap. Every fool spends them as if the supply were infinite. They talk to prove they exist, to be noticed, to fill the void that terrifies them. But each word they pour out reduces their value. The man who speaks endlessly becomes background noise. The man who is silent becomes an enigma, and the enigma rules the room. This is the fourth law of Machiavelli's cold calm method. Master the weight of silence. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is not weakness. Silence is weight. Silence is power. It is the invisible crown that forces others to lean closer, to fill the gap with their own nervous energy. They reveal themselves while you reveal nothing. The common man fears silence because it exposes his inner void. He must hide it behind chatter, jokes, complaints, commentary. But the ruler weaponizes it. He learns to hold silence until it becomes unbearable to others. He understands what Nietzsche hinted. What is unsaid often carries more weight than what is spoken. To remain silent in a world addicted to noise is to radiate dominance. Picture the court of a ruler. Ministers argue, each voice louder than the last, competing for the king's attention. Then the ruler raises his hand, not to speak, but to impose silence. The hall freezes. In that pause, before any word leaves his lips, his authority doubles. The silence is more commanding than their shouting ever was. Silence works in war, in politics, in desire. A woman will test a man by provoking him with words. If he reacts instantly, he is ordinary. If he smiles and remains silent, she feels the weight. A rival insults you in front of others. If you rush to defend yourself, you fall into his game. But if you say nothing, if you meet his words with stillness, suddenly the crowd wonders, why is he so calm? What does he know? What does he hide? The silence becomes your ally, your disguise, your armor. The antagonist here is the inner servant of insecurity. He panics in the gaps between words. He begs you, speak now, or they will think you are weak. Respond, or they will believe you lost. Prove yourself, fill the void. But every time you obey, you diminish. Understand this. Silence never makes you weak. Only desperation does. To build this law into your blood, adopt these practices. First rule, cut your words in half. In every conversation, speak less than you normally would. Let silence stretch after your sentences. Do not rush to fill it, let others scramble. Second rule, delay your responses. When someone asks you a question, breathe before answering. Even a pause of 2 seconds changes the rhythm. It makes your words heavier, colder, more deliberate. Third rule, train yourself to win through absence. Skip one gathering, leave one message unanswered, refuse one unnecessary explanation. Each absence makes your presence heavier. Jung wrote that power is not always what you show. It is also what you withhold. Silence is the art of withholding. The longer you can hold the void, the stronger you appear. And when you finally choose to speak, your words crash like stones into still water. Now see the image, a hall filled with men screaming, their voices clashing like swords, and above them, one figure sits in complete silence. His calm radiates more force than their chaos. They look to him without knowing why. His silence bends them. His silence rules them. Do not forget this. Words are many, silence is rare. What is rare is revered. What is rare is feared. Train yourself not to spill noise like the masses. Train yourself to hold silence until it burns. Because when you master silence, you master presence itself. And when you master presence, you are already a ruler in a world of servants. Every method must lead to a throne. Without a throne, discipline is slavery. Without rulership, control is wasted. The final law of Machiavelli's cold calm method is this: stop reacting and begin ruling. This is the crown. This is the moment where calm ceases to be defense and becomes domination. Men live like reeds in the wind. Society pulls, insults sting, distractions consume, and they bend until they break. They are slaves to the immediate, chained to the next message, the next impulse, the next insult. But you have been forged. You have built your fortress. You have mastered silence. You have extinguished your fires. Now comes the final transformation: rulership. Rulership does not mean politics, nor kingdoms, nor gold. It begins within. To rule is to hold dominion over your own impulses first. Your inner servant, that whispering voice of weakness, will still beg you to obey, but now you no longer serve him. You command him. And when a man commands himself, the world begins to obey. Machiavelli knew this truth. People follow not because of morality, nor because of truth, but because of force of presence. The ruler is the one whose calm terrifies. The ruler is the one who acts only when he chooses, never when provoked. His restraint is not passivity, it is calculated cruelty, released at the moment of greatest advantage. Imagine a rival desperate to provoke you. He throws his insults, sharp and loud. The crowd turns to you, waiting for your explosion. But you remain still. You let the silence stretch until it crushes him. Then, when the weight is unbearable, you speak one sentence, cold, short, final. He collapses under the weight of your calm. That is rulership. To reach this state, you must understand 3 principles. The first, everything is a test. Every delay, every insult, every frustration is the world testing your crown. Do you bend, do you react, or do you remain still? Each time you hold, your throne grows higher. The second, strike with precision. Do not waste energy on the unworthy. The ruler does not fight every battle, he chooses. He waits, and when he moves, he crushes completely. To rule is to be feared for your calm and for your decisive storm when you release it. The third, rule without needing to prove. Weak men shout, "I am strong." Slaves declare, "I am free." Only the true ruler remains silent, and the world declares his power for him. Stop proving, stop explaining, stop reacting. Rule. The final antagonist stands before you, society itself. It whispers its commands: speak louder, react faster, post more, prove more. But society is the servant. You are not. Refuse to obey its rhythm. Create your own. And when you do, you will notice the truth. Crowds follow the man who does not follow. Jung would say you have integrated the shadow, mastered its chaos, and turned it into discipline. Nietzsche would add, you have crossed the threshold. You have gone beyond good and evil and placed yourself above the herd. But Machiavelli would whisper, this is not philosophy. This is rulership. This is survival. This is victory. Now close your eyes. See yourself seated on a throne of stone. The storm howls outside. Fire burns in the distance. The crowd screams for your reaction. But you do not move. You do not flinch. You sit in the fortress you built, the silence you mastered, the calm you forged. When you choose to rise, when you choose to strike, no one can resist. This is the crown of cold calm. Your final rule: never react on command. Let no man, no woman, no crowd control your rhythm. You set the rhythm. You rule the tempo. And so the method ends here, not with noise, but with silence. Not with fire, but with stone. You are no longer a servant to chaos. You are no longer prey for provocation. You are the ruler. And the ruler does not react. The ruler reigns.